Hello, my name's Katie Brindle and welcome to Own Your Health. So welcome back everyone, and today I want to talk to you about something which I came up with a couple of years ago and I find it really helpful, and it's called the health bank account. Now, the reason I talk about this is because once you get to this stage in owning your health and you're starting to get the hang of some of these basic techniques I've been talking about, which is called breathing, relaxing, moving the body, stretching, being aware of yourself, it's really important to let go slightly of the fact that we kind of abuse our bodies, and we just kind of soldier on and we sort of quite brave go, oh, it's nothing, I'm just going to keep going, and actually recognise that there's a sort of bank account that goes on with our bodies, and we need to keep that bank account topped up, just like we do our normal bank account. And if we're overspending, eventually you put your credit card in the wall and you're not going to get any money out. And that is kind of what happens with your bodies as well. So the way I like to refer to it is that what we need to do is we need to treat our bodies in the same way. We need to save. We need to bank energy. We need to bank kind of credits of good health with our body so that when you're working really hard and everything's kind of going a bit crazy and you're working late, you're not eating properly, or you're very stressed, or you're going through a horrible period in your life, any of those things, you're likely to be draining the energy bank. You're likely to be spending. And so therefore, it's really important that during that time, you're first of all conscious of that. But secondly, when you're not in these really intense times, that you're banking the energy back up again so that you've got the reserves there. Because what will happen is just like a normal sort of savings account. If you've got loads of savings in your bank account, you're spending in excess sort of tenner a day, but you've got loads of money in your savings account, you kind of don't really notice. But if you don't have very much money in your savings account, you're going to notice every single £10 that's going to go out of your out of your bank account. So it's really important to be aware of that with your energy as well. So what do we do? Well, it always goes back to the simple techniques which I've talked about already, which is understanding that you've got these three bits that your body does in order to be healthy. The circulation has to move, the body needs to purge and nourish, and you need to keep your organs strong, okay? And that remember that your body has got kind of three different layers: the physical body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. And we can get credits into our bank account from all of that knowledge above. So for example, a good credit would be eating regularly. So if you get to the end of today, you can give yourself a tick if you've managed to basically eat according to your schedule. And now, ideally, that would be breakfast within the first hour of waking up, relatively small portions. You should be about 70% full and 30% wanting a little bit more food. That's actually a balanced diet. 5 hours between each meal, with a really generous amount of time between your evening meal and your breakfast the next day. Ideally eating at about 6 p.m. and not eating breakfast till about 8 or 9 the next day. Now, I know that's not always possible, but if you want to give yourself a sort of 6 or 7 out of 10, then that's already a decent credit going back in your account. Also, the quality of food you're eating. If you can eat really nutritious food and make some simple swaps, like room temperature water as opposed to ice cold water. Ice cold water is not good for you. Or water rather than fizzy drinks, or reducing your content of caffeine. Simple swaps like that will make a difference. But then also into the credits of this bank account can be some other things, like going to bed by 10 o'clock. Most people I know do not go to bed by 10 o'clock. Most people I know go to bed by about midnight. And therein lies one of the biggest health issues going. It's really tempting to just put on that extra episode of Netflix and stay up that little bit later, or take your laptop up to bed and watch another episode whilst you're lying down. And yet, what's really important for your health bank account is making sure you're getting loads and loads of sleep credits. Probably more important than anything else that you're doing at any point in the day. So if nothing else, try and make sure you're going up to bed for about 10 o'clock and that you are asleep by 10:30. The reason I say this is because you have energy in your body, which I'm going to talk a lot about. And this energy moves in a 24-hour circuit. And it's called the ZWO Clock. And it's really cool. And it's all about your body aligning to the rhythm of the earth. which makes you feel healthy and strong. And the energy in the ZWO Clock goes into the gallbladder channel by 11 o'clock at night. And that has a very deep relationship with your sleep patterns. I will explain all that in my whole sleep episode later on. But in the meantime, what happens is if you don't get into deep sleep by the time you're going into the gallbladder energy time, your body's going to suffer the next day. So it's a really simple hack. And then last but by no means least are the simple sort of things that I've been talking about, making sure that you put on, say, mindfulness bell and have a gong on your phone each hour, reminding you to do deep diaphragmatic breathing, the ones that I've been talking to you about so far. Taking relaxation seriously. Remember, relaxation is code for meditation in my world, okay? I throw relaxation at you because it sounds really nice, and it means your barrier going, oh, I can't meditate, I've tried, it's too hard, because I'm teaching that too. Also using circulatory techniques like shaking, tapping, drumming, body brushing, alternating the hot-cold thermostat in your shower when you're having a shower, using foot baths before bed, using some of the Sheng techniques, which I talk about in my book. Here's one I prepared earlier. But I talk a lot about all this stuff in this book for good reason, because it works. And if you add all this stuff up together and sort of give yourself a point for each thing that you're doing, you'll find fairly quickly that you're on about 20 points. Pretty quickly, as long as you're just being slightly mindful of the minutes adding up, looking after the minutes and the hours take care of themselves. And from that, when you then start to drain your energy, because that's what's going to happen when you're working too hard or you're overstressed or you've got too much on your plate or you have to get up really early and you're going to bed really late, that you've got a bank of extra energy. Because what will then happen is if you don't do this, and that's fine, you can completely ignore all of it and go, no, I'm not doing it, that's fine. But you'll suffer. You'll suffer. And as the energy starts to drain, you will suffer a little bit. And then as the energy starts to drain increasingly, your symptoms will increase sort of in direct proportion. So it's a really useful thing to do, because what the Taoist masters taught us over the centuries was to elongate and to elongate your life by preserving this energy frequency for as long as you possibly could. You want that bank account full, because the more of that energy you've got, the better you're going to feel. And life nowadays in the 21st century is about having a long life. We expect a decent lifespan now, but the health and the wellness arena has progressed from that, and it's no longer just about lifespan. How do you feel right now? Give yourself a non-judgmental mark out of 10. How do you feel? 7, 6, 4? Because actually you have the birthright to be 10 out of 10. You want to feel really good. Do you remember the last time you did, when you were young and you were full of beans exhausting your parents? I know that's what my kids do. So the reality is I came into this medicine having been ill, and it's come round in 3 different revolutions during the course of my life since discovering it, where it's come in at different stages to help me when I've hit various levels of rock bottom in various different things, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And each time it's built my energy reserves back up again, and I'm able not only to function, but to thrive. And that's really what owning your health is all about, to have the best possible life, because that's what we want to do. So there's your bank account. Do feel free to fill this energy bank account to your heart's content, because the most exciting thing about this information I give you is it's all really nice. It feels great, even cold showers, believe it or not. Once you get the hang of them, all this stuff feels amazing as you start to build it in. So let me know in the comments if I can help you in any other way, and if the health bank account made sense to you. And in the meantime, James is waving his clipboard at me. Follow me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please. Please do rate and review, but be nice, please. Otherwise, I'll get sad. And you can also watch me on YouTube, message me on Instagram or TikTok.